Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. Shiladantana Kalare. Shiladantana Kalare. Ito Narsinga Parato Narsinga. Ito Narsinga Parato Narsinga. Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsinga. Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsinga. Kahi Narsinga Hridaye Narsinga. Kahi Narsinga Hridaye Narsinga. Narsingamadi Sharanam Prapati. Narsingamadi Sharanam Prapati. Narsingamadi Sharanam Prapati. Narsingamadi Sharanam Prapati. Pravakara Kamala Varenakam Adbhuta Shringa. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubhinga. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadish Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare. Kamala Varenaka Adbhuta Shringa. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubhinga. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadish Hare. Jagadish Hare. Jagadish Hare. Tavakara Kamala Varenakam Adbhuta Shringa. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubhinga. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Tavakara Kamala Varenakam Adbhuta Shringa. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubhinga. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jagadish Hare. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Narsinga Dev, Narsinga Dev, Jaya Narsinga Dev, Jaya Narsinga Dev, Narsinga Dev, Narsinga Dev, Jaya Narsinga Dev, Jaya Vṛndāvana, Jaya Vṛndāvana, Jaya Vṛndāvana, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Welcome, dear devotees, to our Friday Bhagavatam class, our special class here. And I am just going to let's see here. Okay, so we are good. We are going to now get started on the Kundi Maharani prayers. So, dear devotees, thank you for joining us. Please accept my humble obeisances, and we'll get started after these short prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devīm Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Nashtaprayeshva Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki Tada Rajastamo Bhava Labh Kamalobhadayascha Cheta Iterana Vrittam Sitam Sattve Prasidati Shunvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Idantasto Hiya Bhadrani Vidhunoti Shuhitsatam Tasmadekena manasa Bhagavan Sartvatam Patihi Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Dheya Pujasya Nityada. Now we will go over to chapter number 8 in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Kunti Maharani's prayers start from text number 18, and we'll do a quick recap because a week has passed since we looked at that. So let's get going. And if you're able to see my screen, can you please type yes on the chat box so that I know that you are there connected nicely. And let's look at the chat window. Anybody is chat in the chat? I can see, and yes, Sukumal Radhe and Varshana Mataji both are confirming. So we are there, fantastic, and welcome to the class. Sukumal Radhe Mataji, Sadhna Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Vindhyavali Mataji, and Vṛndāvana Mataji. Thank you there. And Dilip Patel Prabhu, Shraddha-devi Dasi, and Kundi Prabhu, and Himlata Mataji. Thank you for joining us on Facebook here today. So going over straight to verse number 18, just to do a quick recap. And Kunti Maharani, and this is what has happened, that it's, the Mahabharat war is over. Krishna has stayed in Hastinapur for some more time first because Yudhishthira was feeling bad and they wanted him to stay for a little more longer. So when Krishna is getting ready to go and leave and go back to Dwarka, where he was residing with his parents and his wives, and so before he goes there, he goes and goes to offer his respects to all the elders who are there. And Kunti Maharani is, of course, his aunt, so she is his elder. So he goes there to offer his respects, and instead we see, of course, he offers that, but instead we see Kunti Maharani, who is his elder age-wise, is glorifying him through these fantastic Kunti prayers. So in text number 18, she's offering her obeisances to him, and he says, I'm doing it because you are the original personality. And he's saying that you are beyond the qualities of this material world. So param is what she uses in the Sanskrit, right? And you are existing both inside and within and without everything. So antar bahir avastitam alakshay. Alakshay it was the key there, is that we cannot see you, right? And then he also says, she says that you are not visible to others, and foolish, obviously, when you come here, cannot see you, just as people cannot recognize the actors when they are playing a particular play. So same thing, Krishna also comes here to do a high level drama, intense drama here as part of his pastimes. So, and then she expresses, although she's so exalted, and she's talking about such high philosophy, but her humility comes across when she says that, you come here for the Paramhamsas to explain to them all the essential things about, spiritualism. So I'm just a woman. How can I just understand that, right? And then, how can we women know you perfectly? So this brings us to verse number 21. And incidentally, the date today is also 21. So let's do a double 21 on that. And look at what Kunti Maharani is going to say here. And this is a very, very famous verse and very beautiful. Actually, if you get up in the morning, this is one of the verses that you can recite to offer your obeisances to Krishna. And it's an easy and a simple verse, not a tongue twister at all. Very, very a sweet verse, and has got deep meanings also inside it. As usual with anything that Kunti Maharani speaks is not simple text like that. So the verse is Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devakī Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devakī Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devakī Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So I've given it a different tune today so that it's easy for you to remember. And for those of you who want to memorize it, you can listen to the recording on Facebook or YouTube, where we are broadcasting right now. So in the synonyms, Krishnaya, the Supreme Lord, Vasudevaya, unto the son of Vasudeva. So we have to remember Vasudeva is the father and Vasudeva is the son, right? Like that. Devakī Nandanaya. So Devakī we know, and unto the son of Devakī is Nandan, into the son of Devakī. Cha means and. Nanda Gopa, Nanda, we know Nand Maharaj, and Gopa, the Gopas, the cowherd men. Kumaraya, unto their son. Govindaya, unto the personality of Godhead, who enlivens the cows and the senses. So Govind is one who gives pleasure to the cows and the senses. Namaha, respectful obeisances, and then again, Namaha, obeisances. So Namo Namaha, so she's offering him obeisances there. To whom? There are three that she's saying. Krishnaya, 4. Krishnaya, Vasudevaya, Devakī Nandanaya, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. So 4 she's using there to describe. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devakī, the boy of Nanda, and other cowherd men of Vṛndāvana, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. So just give me a second over here as I just things on my other screen. The Lord being thus unapproachable by any material assets, out of unbounded and causeless mercy, descends to the earth as it is. So Lord Krishna as it is means no changes at all. So as he is, in order to show his special mercy upon his unalloyed devotees, to diminish the upsurges of the demoniac persons. Queen Kunti specifically adores the incarnation or descent of Lord Krishna above all other incarnations because in this particular incarnation, he is more approachable. In the Rama incarnation, he remained a king's son from his very childhood. But in the incarnation of Krishna, although he was the son of a king, he at once left the shelter of his real father and mother, which is King Vasudeva and the Queen Devakī, just after his appearance, and went to the lap of Yashoda Mai to play the part of an ordinary cowherd boy in the blessed Vrajbhumi, which is very sanctified because of his childhood pastimes. Therefore, Lord Krishna is more merciful than Lord Rama. He was undoubtedly very kind to Kunti's brother Vasudeva and the family. Had he not become the son of Vasudeva and Devakī, Queen Kunti could not claim him to be her nephew and thus address Krishna in parental affection. But Nanda and Yashoda are more fortunate because they could relish the Lord's childhood pastimes, which are more attractive than all other pastimes. There is no parallel to his childhood pastimes as exhibited in Vrajbhumi, which are replicas of his eternal affairs in the original Krishna Loka, described as the Chintamani Dham in the Brahma Samhita. Chintamani Prakarasatmashu Kalpa Vriksha, that one. Lord Sri Krishna descended himself at Vrajbhumi with all his transcendental entourage and paraphernalia. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore confirmed that no one is as fortunate as the residents of Vrajbhumi, and specifically the cowherd girls who dedicated their everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. His pastimes with Nand and Yashoda and his pastimes with the cowherd men, and especially with the cowherd boys and the cows, have caused him to be known as Govinda. Lord Krishna as Govinda is more inclined to the Brahmanas and the cows, indicating thereby that human prosperity depends more on two items, namely Brahminical culture and cow protection. Lord Krishna is never satisfied where these are lacking. So I'll stop here, stop sharing it here, and ask you to take out your pads and tell me anything that you heard from what was, whatever was there in the verses, in the purports, any points that, struck out to you, or that you liked, or that you don't like, or that you have doubts about. Let's go and look at that. And I can see the responses are pouring in, which is very nice. And let's see here. So Aruni Mataji liked the word Vrajbhumi. She likes the sound of that. Chintamani is what Vashana Mataji likes. Chintamani is, oh wow, Chintamani. Everybody likes Chintamani, right? Cowherd girls dedicating everything to the Lord is what Sukumal Radhe likes it. And the fact that Krishna is so approachable is something that impresses Sadhana Mataji there. Yeah, this is just fantastic. Good, good, good. So you have been listening nicely and intently. So let's see here and go over a little bit of, the Queen Kunti's prayers by themselves that, we have been reading. So we know that in the very first verse where she says, Namaste Purusham Tadyam, right? Antar Bahir Avasthitam, right? Prakrite Param. So she's using all these words, Ishwaram, Param. She talks to him like that, right? So, in the very first word itself, because she's the aunt, and an aunt should not be bound down to the nephew. So she has made it very, very clear in the beginning that I'm offering these obeisances to you because you are Prakriti Param. You are beyond this material world. And so you are the spiritual, you are the complete spiritual, supreme personality of Godhead, right? And why I'm bringing that verse over there is because here in today's verse, right? Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devakī Nandanaya cha, right? Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So she starts with Krishnaya Vasudevaya. So she starts with Krishna, and then she's bringing in, she's saying Vasudevaya, right? So this is very important thing to understand here, that what is Vasudev? So Vasudev, I said the son of Vasudev is Vasudev. Now this word Vasudev can also mean different things, right? And there's a very nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, and let me bring that. It comes in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and we will go over that together to see what exactly, what more, what there's a lot that is there about Vasudeva, and I think we should all know that. And it's a very easy way to remember that. And let me start sharing the screen with you here. So desktop number 2, and it is Bhagavatam. And remember, canto number is 4. And talks between Lord Shiva and Sati. Right? Sati is Daksha's daughter who went into the fire, right? That one. And then we go down and come to this verse, is 4 to 23. I am always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. And this is Shiva telling to his wife, Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness, because our consciousness can get mingled with the modes of material nature. So when you're talking about Krishna consciousness, then it is always pure consciousness, not a trace of materialism should be there. So Krishna consciousness is that consciousness in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering, right? And we see that Kunti Maharani had talked about covering, right? Maya hi javanika chanam. Javanika, she said, was a curtain, right? They use the word curtain. And so just as curtain can cover everything, similarly, those who are mudhas, they cannot see Krishna, right? So it's not just, well, when we say mudhas, we don't mean the stupid that way, but we mean that those who are foolish and on a spiritual level. That is, those who don't have spiritual knowledge. They are termed as foolish in our vocabulary, right? Otherwise, people can be foolish in material terms also. But here, when we are talking about mudhas and things like that, we basically mean people who are not after the spiritual. They are all completely immersed and submerged in the material world. So here he's saying, and there's a very famous Satyam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yadiyate Tatra Pumanava Apavritaha Satve cha tasmin Bhagavan Vasudeva Yadhokshaje me namasa vidhiyate. And so here there's this very famous, of course, Vasudeva word has come, Satvam Vishuddham, and we said Vishuddha, there is Shuddha, right? There's a pure goodness, right? So there is goodness and there is pure goodness, Vishuddham, which takes you from the material to the transcendental. And then, of course, Adhokshaj, we had two weeks ago, we had talked about Adhokshaj, right? The one who cannot be sensed by these ordinary material senses. And we had also said that the one who cannot be described, even if you take all the letters from A to Ksha, right? All those series that you take from A all the way to Ksha, you won't be able to describe the Lord because he is Ananta, he is unlimited. Right? So it's a very nice purport Prabhupada says, and I'll read that to you. Translation, I'm always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering. And it's a long purport, so just fasten your belts. The living entity is constitutionally pure. Asango hiyam purusha. Asang means I have nothing to do with this material world. So I am pure. Impure means having some tinge of material influences in you. In the Vedic literature, it is said that the soul is always pure and uncontaminated by material attachment. The identification of the body with the soul is due to misunderstanding or false ego. As soon as one is fully Krishna conscious, it is to be understood that one is in his pure, original, constitutional position. This state of existence is called Shuddha Sattva, which means that it is transcendental to the material qualities. Since this Shuddha Sattva existence is under the direct action of the internal potency, in this state, the activities of material consciousness stop. This is very, very interesting thing. This Shuddha Sattva state, our existence, is under the direct action of the internal potency, right? As long as we are under the materialistic concept of life, then we are under the influence of Maya or Durga Devi, right? And as soon as we, turn towards Krishna and say, okay, Krishna, I surrender unto you, right? Then you are moving towards the Shuddha Sattva state. And on that journey, then your actions are governed not by Durga, but by Yogamaya, the internal potency of Krishna. And once that happens, once you reach perfection there, then in that state, all the material activities will stop for us. For example, when iron is put into a fire, it becomes warm. And when red hot, although it is iron, it acts like fire. Similarly, when copper is surcharged with electricity, its action as copper stops. It acts as electricity. Bhagavad Gita 14.26 also confirms that anyone who engages in unadulterated devotional service, abhyabhicharena, is at once elevated to the position of pure Brahman. Mam cha yo bhyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samitityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Therefore, Shuddha Sattva, as described in this verse, is a transcendental position which is technically called Vasudeva. So this is one meaning of the word Vasudeva. And that is what? That transcendental position or the transcendental status is called Vasudeva. Vasudeva is also the name of the person from whom Krishna appears. Okay, so that's the second meaning of Vasudeva, although in Sanskrit we call him as Vasudeva. This verse explains that the pure state is called Vasudeva because in that state, Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is revealed without any covering. So once you reach that stage, you will see Krishna as he is. To execute unadulterated devotional service, therefore, one must follow the rules and regulations of devotional service without desire to gain material profit. Because as soon as there is a desire to gain material profit, then you're not in the Shuddha state. Now you have become contaminated. That's why pure devotional service is described as Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhyanabritam. Right? So pure devotional service is without any material desires. In pure devotional service, one simply serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a matter of duty. And I think Sukomal Radhe Mataji had said that in her chat, cowherd girls dedicated everything to the Lord. Right? And that's what they were doing, given everything, nothing they wanted for themselves. One simply serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a matter of duty without reason and without being impeded by material conditions. That is called Shuddha Sattva or Vasudeva, because in that stage, the Supreme Person Krishna is revealed in the heart of the devotee. Srila Jiva Goswami has very nicely described this Vasudeva or Shuddha Sattva in the Bhagavad Sandarbha. He explains that Ashtotara Shat, which means 8 and 100, that's 108, is added to the name of the spiritual master to indicate one who is situated in Shuddha Sattva or in the transcendental state of Vasudeva. The word Vasudeva is also used for other purposes. For example, Vasudeva also means one who is everywhere or all pervading. The sun is also called Vasudev Shabditam. Now here, sun is also called Vasudev Shabditam. The word Vasudeva may be utilized for different purposes, but whatever purpose we adopt, Vasudeva means the all-pervading or localized Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vasudeva means that. In Bhagavad Gita 7.19, it is also stated, Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Factual realization is to understand Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and surrender unto him. Vasudeva is the ground, this is very, very important. Vasudeva is the ground wherein Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is revealed, which basically means that, if he's going to come, he's going to reveal himself. Where is he going to stand? On some place, right? Table, chair, somewhere, or stage, somewhere he has to stand. So here they're saying Vasudeva is the ground wherein Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is revealed. It basically means that once your consciousness comes to the level of Vasudeva, right? Your consciousness becomes pure consciousness, then the Lord is going to be revealed, and where is your consciousness? Is in the heart. So the Lord is going to be revealed. When one is free from the contamination of material nature and is situated in pure Krishna consciousness or in the Vasudeva state, Vasudeva, the Supreme Person, is revealed. This state is also called Kevalya, which means pure consciousness. Jnanam Satvikam Kevalyam. When one is situated in pure transcendental knowledge, one is situated in Kevalya. Therefore, Vasudeva also means Kevalya. a word which is generally used by impersonalists. Impersonal Kaivalya is not the last stage of realization. In Krishna consciousness, Kaivalya, when one understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one is successful. In that pure state, by hearing, chanting, remembering, like Kirtanam, Vishnu, Savanam, Padasevanam, all those lines, because of the development of knowledge of the science of Krishna, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Janmakam me divyam evam yo veti tatvata, right? Takta deham punarjanma naeti mameti. So Arjuna says that in 4.9 Bhagavad Gita. So here, once you understand what Krishna is, all these activities are under the guidance of the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. So that's why in order to understand Krishna, you don't have to go to Stanford or MIT or Harvard or any of those places, right? Because you have to go, you will get that knowledge from the internal, from bhakti, you will get that. And the action of the internal potency is also described in this verse as apavritaha, free from any covering. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his name, his form, his quality, his paraphernalia, etc., namadi, being transcendental, are beyond material nature, it is not possible to understand any one of them with the materialistic senses. When the senses are purified, that's why I say, Athashi Krishna namadi, na bhaved grahyam indriye. So it is not possible, grahyam, all, indriye means senses. So it's not possible to know Krishna, his name, his form, his quality through these material senses. But when the senses are purified by the discharge of pure devotional service, Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. So when we start using our senses to please the senses of the Lord, then our senses get purified. And once our senses are purified, then the pure senses can see Krishna without any covering, apavritaha, right? So that Maya Jahrikannam, that Maya's curtain is, torn asunder, and then you can see Krishna behind it. Now one may inquire that since factually the devotee has the same material existential body, how is it possible that the same materialistic eyes become purified by devotional service, right? So I have got these eyes of these instruments, and we are all these days we were talking about that these instruments have got 4 defects. And so because of the 4 defects, you can't even see a lot of the material things, what to talk about seeing the spiritual thing. And now we are saying that, oh, you will be able to see them. So Prabhupada is anticipating that question, and he's saying, how is it doing that? How do we see that? Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that in the Shastakam, Cheto Darpanamarjanam Dhavamahabhavagni Nirvapanam. So the example as stated by Lord Chaitanya is that devotional service cleanses the mirror of the mind. And so in the beginning of the class, when I was reciting some of the verses, Shrunvatam Swakatha Krishna, Punya Shramana Kirtana, Hirda Antasto hi Abhadrani. Whatever is dirty in the heart, where the mind decides, all that is cleansed, right? So the devotional service cleanses the mirror of the mind. In a clean mirror, one can see one's face very distinctly. Similarly, simply by cleansing the mirror of the mind, one can have a clear conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita 8.8, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena Chetasa Nanyagamina. And Chetasa Nanyagamina means without allowing your Chetasa, your mind, to go here and there. So those people are able to see. By executing one's prescribed duties in devotional service, Chetasa Nanyagamina, or simply by hearing about God and chanting about Him, if one's mind is always engaged in chanting and hearing, and is not allowed to go elsewhere, Tasmad Ekena Manasa Bhagavan Satvatam Pati, Ekena Manasa, single-minded attention, one can realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed by Lord Chaitanya, by the Bhakti Yoga process, beginning from hearing and chanting, one can cleanse the heart and mind, and thus one can clearly see the face of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, remember, Lord Shiva is talking all this to Parvati, Shatyam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam, that verse. Lord Shiva said that since his heart was always filled with the conception of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of the Supreme Lord's presence within his mind and heart, he was always offering obeisances unto that Supreme Godhead. In other words, Lord Shiva is always in trance samadhi. And that's why sometimes, there are Shaivites and you ask them, okay, Shiva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they will say. So, okay, so if he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what business does he have to be meditating, right? And, Krishna never meditates, he's playing here and there, right, all the time. So what does Shiva meditate on? And now here in Bhagavatam, we come to know that he is meditating. In his mind, he's offering obeisances again and again to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, Lord Shiva is always in trance or samadhi. This samadhi is not under the control of the devotee. So it is not something that I can, through mechanical means, I can say, okay, now Krishna, come here, sit on this corner of my heart. Oh no, it's itching there. Okay, go and sit on that corner of my heart. We can't do that to Krishna, right? All these things happen under the control of Yog Maya, and it's not under our control. It's in control of the energy of Vasudeva. And we saw that in Bhagavatam in the earlier chapters, when Narad Muni had a little glimpse. He sees a little glimpse of the Lord in his heart. And then the Lord disappears. And now Narad Muni tries to close his eyes like that and sit still and sit straight and put his shoulders straight, and it wants to bring that picture back to his heart. And then he hears a voice which says, you will never be able to see me again because you still have some material desires. So the samadhi is not under the control of the devotee, it's under the control of Vasudeva. For the entire internal energy of the Supreme Lord acts under his order. Of course, the material energy also acts by his order, right? But this chaye vayasya bhuvanani vibharti durga. So we hear that in Brahma Samhita, right? So that material energy is like a shadow potency, but it works. Ichha rupa. Whatever is Krishna's ichha, material energy will act like that. But his direct will is specifically executed through the spiritual energy, right? And his direct will, Krishna's main will, is not to punish us, which material energy does. His main will is to bring us all back to Godhead. So the moment we say, I want to go back to Godhead, things will start to get cleared for us very quickly if we have a strong desire to do that. Thus, by his spiritual energy, he reveals himself. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.6, Sambhahami Atma Mayaya. Atma Maya means internal potency. By his sweet will, he reveals himself by his internal potency, being satisfied by the transcendental loving service of the devotee. The devotee never commands, my dear Lord, please come here so that I can see you. It is not the position of the devotee to command the Supreme Personality of Godhead to come before him or to dance before him. There are so many so-called devotees who command the Lord to come before them dancing. The Lord, however, is not subject to anyone's command. But if he is satisfied with one's pure devotional activities, he reveals himself. Therefore, a meaningful word in this verse is adhokshaja, for it indicates that the activities of our material senses will fail to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One cannot realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by the attempt of one's speculative mind. But if one desires, he can subdue all the material activities of his senses, and the Lord, by manifesting his spiritual energy, can reveal himself to the pure devotee. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead reveals himself to the pure devotee, the devotee has no other duty than to offer him respectful obeisances. And this is what we see over and over, again and again, in so many of the pastimes that are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. The cutest is the pastimes of Dhruv Maharaj, who's a cute little 5-year-old boy, and he's going and doing these extremes of austerities, eating just berries for the first month and just drinking water, just air and so on and so forth. And on the 6th month, he just stops breathing. And because he has learned to control the air, not only his air, he's learned to control the air of the whole universe. And so when he stops breathing, the whole universe stops breathing. And all the pranis of this universe get agitated. So they run to Krishna and they say, hey, Vishnu, what's happening? But then Vishnu says, okay, let me go there and ask this boy to stop doing these severe austerities. So he appears before a beautiful form of Vishnu before Dhruva. And when Dhruva Maharaj sees him, like he's full of wonder. And so then he falls down flat. That's what happens. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead reveals himself to the pure devotee, the devotee has no other duty than to offer him respectful obeisances. And Dhruv Maharaj fell flat on the ground like a rod, Dandavat pranams, falls flat on the ground, offers obeisances, starts touching his lotus feet of the Lord, and he's a boy, so he starts kissing the lotus feet of the Lord also, right? So that was such a beautiful revelation the Lord made for Dhruv Maharaj. The absolute truth reveals himself to the devotee in his form. He is not formless. Vasudeva is not formless, for it is stated in this verse that as soon as the Lord reveals himself, the devotee offers his obeisances. Obeisances are offered to a person, not to anything impersonal. One should not accept the Mayavad interpretation that Vasudeva is impersonal. So, another meaning, of Vasudeva is the impersonal form of the Lord, and the Mayavadis, believe that that is the sum total and everything, but that is not right? Because in Srimad Bhagavatam we heard that their realization of the God is not perfect realization, because vadanti tattvavidas, the tattvavidas, those who have seen the truth, vadanti, they say. And what do they say? Vadanti tattvavidas, and Dhammeti Paramatmeti Bhagwan iti Shabdate. So in the end of that verse, they say that this supreme truth is known in three forms, or three phases, or three aspects. Brahmeti Paramatmeti. So there's Brahman realization, which is just the light or effulgence of the Lord. Paramatma as the Lord in our heart, in the Vishnu form, four-handed form. And then in the two-handed form as Krishna. And we also read over here in earlier that the two-handed form of Krishna is the most approachable form, right? Why? Because in this form as Krishna, he comes as a cowherd boy, not as a king, or not as Vishnu, who's the supreme controller, so we're scared of him like that. He's very, very approachable. So that's the form that the devotees go after. So one should not accept the Mayavad interpretation that Vasudeva is impersonal. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, prapadyate, one surrenders to a person, not to impersonal non-duality. Whenever there is a question of surrendering or offering obeisances, there must be an object of surrender or an object of obeisances. Some object, some form has to be there in front of us to whom we are offering our obeisances. So this beautiful verse, we go back and very, very deep and powerful. Satvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yad iyate tatra puman apavitaha satvecha tasmin Bhagavan Vasudevo hi adhokshaje me namasa vidhiyate. I am always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness, in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering, because the covering can also be in the form of light. This extreme of effulgence that coming out of Krishna covers it, right? For example, sometimes you take a torch and you throw the torch on your eyes, you can't see anything. There's too much of light there for us to see. So Kunti Maharani is very, very particular in this verse, which on the face of it looks like a fine musical melody, very beautiful. What is there? That's how four names are thrown in together. I can also construct that verse. It's not like that. She's going into the deeper meaning. She says, Krishnaya Vasudevaya. Krishna, who is Vasudeva, right? Krishna, Vasudeva, Devakī, Nanda, Nanda Gopa, they all are son. They are all the same thing. So she's saying Vasudeva and Krishna are the same. And thereby she's talking about that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is, not that effulgence, not that Vasudeva as some people might think, the impersonalists specifically think. I'm talking about Krishna, you who are standing here in front of me, like that. And If you can hear me, can you raise your hand? Okay, fantastic. I just need to make sure that that I didn't lose my connections here. Okay, that is good. Fantastic. This is good. So we got there again. So what I was saying, yeah. So what I was saying was that, and let me go back and find my connections. Yeah. So Kunti Maharani was making it very, very clear over here. And what she was saying was that, don't get mistaken. I am talking about Krishna who has got a personality, right? Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagwan iti Shabdate. I'm not talking about the Vasudeva, which is, the impersonal fact. And that Krishna also says that Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanvan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvam iti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So Vasudeva Sarvam iti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. It takes a lot of time. It takes many, many births. Kotish Api Mahamune, also it says later in Srimad Bhagavatam that it takes crores and crores of lifetimes to realize Krishna if you are following the impersonalist route, because you will keep on, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in this cycle, like a Ferris wheel, up and down, up and down. Go to Brahmajyoti, come back again, go to Brahmajyoti, come back again, like that, right? So unless you get the mercy of a pure devotee of the Lord, and then you are able to, go back. So, yeah, so continuing on with some of the thoughts. So she's making it very, very clear there that we are not talking about that. We are talking about Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like that. And then, just one second here, I'm looking at some of the dashboard things here. All right, okay. So, so Prabhupada also says that in the purports, and he said that, just as you are fire, right? If iron rod gets in touch with the fire, then the iron rod also starts to behave like that, right? And so we have to remember that Krishna is beyond. Krishna is beyond this material world, and our duty is to serve him, reach the Vasudeva Shabditam, that you are at a higher level. And we try to reach that. Now, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanva Mam Prapadyate. So we're talking about the impersonalists who are looking at the impersonalist feature of the Lord. And then how do they come? How will they finally come to understand him? Because he's adhokshada, he cannot be seen. So our famous verse, right, which says that Sevan Mikho Hijivyado Athashi Krishna Namadi Na Bhaved Graham Indriye Sevan Mikho Hijivado Swam Ev Pratyada. So if you just serve the Lord with your jivha by singing his glories and also by eating prasadam, then you will find him. Then you will be able to see Krishna, like that, right? So amazing thing here is that and there are plenty of impersonalists there. For the impersonalist, the light is everything. Right? For them, the light is everything, because they are at some level, right? Maybe you say that, like there are planetary systems. We talk about the 14 planetary system. There are higher planets and the lower planet. The Earth is a middle planet, right? There is a sun planet. The sun is at a higher level than the Earth. And so people who live in the sun, they are at a higher level. So people who are living the sun, for them, they are inhabitants of the sun planet. Then they see the sun god who is there, and managing the sun planet. So they see him there. So for them, sunlight is nothing, right? So similarly, when you raise your consciousness to a higher level, then for you and for us also, the effulgence will be nothing, in the sense that there is something beyond that curtain of the effulgence. There is something there that is Krishna himself there, right? So he's saying that, Krishna is there. Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devakī Nandanaya cha, right? So now here's an interesting thing here, that two aspects are there which are very interesting. So one is that here we know Krishna says, Aham Bijam Pradapitaha. He says that in Bhagavad Gita, right? So I'm the seed giving father. So he's the father, right? But you see here in this pastime that Krishna is coming here, he's coming, his pastime is that of a son. He's not coming as anybody's father, right? So the interesting thing is that Prabhupada says that in one of the lectures, he says that, father means there's duty. Father means the son will say, now feed me, now give me food, now I want to go to university, now I bashed my car. I need a car, new one. So the son is going to keep on asking things of the father. So Krishna doesn't like that. Krishna instead wants to just come as a son, right? And that is why he's bringing in those two aspects, right? Devakī Nandanaya cha, right? And so Nanda, he's the foster son of Nanda, and of course he's the real child, so to speak, of Vasudeva. So we have to remember that we always try to make Krishna, those who desire something out of Krishna will always go for the material, always go for the father relationship, because we want something from him, right? But on the other hand, when your relationship with Krishna reaches that level where you are, I want to do something to Krishna, there are devotees who will reach that stage where they will say, I want Krishna as my son because I really want to take care of it. And that is the Vatsalya, bhav that is there, which was so much in Devakī, that she always becomes his mother like that. So, but we just go and we will pray like, Krishna, give me bread, right? There are so many prayers where they say, our Father, like that. So Krishna, bread, that is fine. When we go to Krishna, bread should not be the thing that we should be asking, or bread should not be the main thing that we should be asking Krishna, right? Because Krishna provides bread and Krishna provides food for everybody. Now, let's have a little interaction with you. So how many chapatis can you eat maximum? Maximum chapatis, how many can you eat? So Varshana Mataji is frugal, she says 1. Aruni says she can have 2, right? How much food does an elephant eat? So, tons of it. So Krishna is providing food for such big mammoths, right? So what is 1 chapati or 2 chapati? He can easily take care of Varshana and Aruni Mataji for sure, right? So he's already taking care of that. Eko bahunam yovidhati kamam. He's already taking care of so many people. So don't go for that, right? Ask, if you are going for Krishna, ask for better thing. Krishna, let me get out of it so that I can serve you in my full capacity, right? And then all that you have to do, forget about these material things. The moment you surrender to Krishna, and we are reading that in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Yagya Shishtana Santa. We read that yesterday. So if you please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all your basic amenities of life will be taken care of. They do get taken care of, like that, right? So we don't have to worry about just surrender to surrender to Krishna. He will arrange your chapati and your parota also. Like that. Okay, so I will stop here. Kunti Maharani's prayers are so enriching, and so they go so deep, and just looking at the simple words over there, we can't understand what she actually meant till we take the Sahara, or the shelter of the Acharyas who go into the deeper meanings and explain them. And that's why our gratitude towards Srila Prabhupada is always infinite for translating these verses into English for us here. Okay, so this is question reflection time for a few minutes. You can raise your hand, you can write in the chat box, whatever works for you. And I think there is some on the chat. I don't know whether there's a question. Okay, right, there we go. And anything that you want to bring up.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Sadhana Mataji.
Yeah, no, I want to thank you so much for going over this verse. It's actually the first verse that I learned Sanskrit for, because I always liked hearing it, because I've heard it so often, and yes. I didn't realize the depth of it. And yes, it is a really wonderful prayer to have in the morning, right? So this makes my life easy now that I understand it. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, and nice way to start the day, as you said. Thank you.
What's the verse number again?
1821. Today's date 21.
Okay.
For Vaishana 22. Okay.
It's 21. 1821, right?
1.8.21.
Oh, 1.8.21. Okay.
Garima.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Very nice lecture, and I like so few things which you explained, like Nirakar and Sakar difference. Again, you emphasize Brahma Jyoti and all. Those who go, they keep on going in that, revolving into that circle again and again. And then Vasudeva word you explained was very nice. Never knew that it is kind of a true sattva. Like if you enter into that, that is like they see Krishna in pure consciousness. And then again that Vadanti, that those who get Brahma Gyan, they say that Bhagwan is Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwaneti Shabdate. So very nice. And then Krishnaya Vasudevaya, again, like it is so relishing, this verse is. So it was very nice to hear about it again.
Yeah, and this is Bhagavatam. This is the sweetness of Bhagavatam, right? Everywhere there is Padu, you know.
Yeah.
Swadu, Swadu, Pade, Pade. At every time there's something sweet to taste, right, in the Bhagavatam. Yes. So, yeah. Thank you for sharing reflection. Virava Bhav.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, actually, I wanted to share something. You were saying like when we should not be asking Krishna for food or anything like that. And I was listening to a lecture a while ago from Srila Prabhupada, and he's saying that if you look at the birds, the animals, they don't have temples. They don't go worship in the temple for God, you know. But for food, but they're being provided. So why should you go to the temple and ask for food? So I was just reflecting on what you're saying.
Yes, yeah. And actually, you know, in the communist countries, it used to happen like that. People were, the innocent people, they would be praying to the Lord for food. And so they would say, okay, let's come to your place of worship. Why don't you pray? And let's see if your Lord is going to give you food. So they would pray to the Lord. And of course, you know, it's not that food just drops on the head like that if you pray. So there's no food. And they said, see, there is no God. Okay, now pray to our leader. And of course, they would pray, the poor people, you know, they would pray to the leader, and then baskets and baskets of, you know, bread were arranged for them. So yeah, you don't have to. Krishna takes care of everything. And there's a very interesting verse which actually Narad Muni says, you know, to Vasudeva, when they're having this discussion before the Srimad Bhagavatam is written. And he says, Tasyeva heto pratayeta kovido nalabhyate yad brahmatam upari adaha. Remember this, upari ada is a very important word there. Talabhyate dukhavat anantya sukham kalena sarvatvidamiradam hasaha. So what that particular verse actually says is very, very interesting. He says that you know, persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined, right? People who are actually intelligent, COVID, right? So those who are COVID, actually what they do is they will not go after these kinds of things. Give me food, give me a good wife, give me kingdom and things like that. They will not say that, right? But if a person, and why? It's very, very powerful. You know, when you try to go after materialistic gains, you will go upariya ada. Upariya ada means you'll go to the higher planets. Your chine purnayam marta lokam vishanti, your pious credits will be over, and then you'll come down. Then you'll suffer, then you'll go back and do something, karmakandi, go back again. And this way you will be like a Ferris wheel, you'll be going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. But the more important part of this particular verse, it says, and this is very heavy and very eye-opening, it was very eye-opening to me. And it says, as far as happiness from sense enjoyment is concerned, right? It says, if you want to even enjoy your senses materialistically, if you want to do that, you know, it said that happiness will come automatically. And the reason that he gives is that just as Without desiring, you got the miseries. Without desiring, you get the miseries. So without desiring, you will get your material happiness also, because material happiness is destined. Whether you do it or work hard for it or don't work hard for it, you are destined to get it, you will get it. Like that. So why spend so much of time? Krishna is taking care already, right? And this materialistic happiness, what do we want? Mostly we are still going for 4 things, right? Eating, meeting, mating, and defending, like those, right? So we are going for those, and Prabhupada says those are available. Krishna has made them available even for the animals. So that should not be our focus. Tato Brahma Jigyasa. Our focus should be focusing on the Lord. Yeah, so good reflection, Nataji. Sukamal Radhe.
Can I just add to that point? What you said, that is going to happen anyway because it's already destined. And it just reminded me of something that I heard actually on the radio. This lady was saying, there's all this talk about being positive. That's not going to change the outcome, but positive thoughts. But what's going to happen is that when you're positive and you have positive thoughts, it's going to help you to handle the situation, handle the outcome in a certain way, as opposed to if you're negative about it. So that's how it's going to help, but it's not going to change one iota the outcome, or whatever is going to happen is going to happen. Your thoughts are not going to change that, but how you handle it, how you deal with it, that's what's going to change. And so I just wanted to add to that, because everybody goes on about, your thoughts will change.
Yeah.
Have your thoughts, and your thoughts will change. And I've seen in my own life that doesn't happen. So I just wanted to, put in that. When you said that, it reminded me of that.
Yeah. Positive is the word. Yeah, one has to be positive. And here's the beauty thing. So there is, and now based on whatever you have said, it becomes so easy to understand why bad things happen to good people, and they don't seem to complain. See, the bad things are going to happen. If they were destined to happen, they will happen, right? But their attitude towards it. So miseries come to everybody, right? Miseries will come to everybody, but it's your choice how you react to those miseries. Are you going to be unhappy because of that? Miserable situations will come. You want to suffer or not is your choice, like that. And but Sukamal Radhe Mataji for the last thought of the day. And you are on mute, Mataji. I don't know. Did she raise her hand, or am I just seeing it like that? I thought I saw her raise her hand, but I may be mistaken. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Any other talks? Any other thoughts? Any other comments?
Kunti Maharani asked about the miseries, keep on thinking of Lord Krishna.
Say that again, Vinayavali Mataji. Sorry, say that again.
Kunti Maharani, she was asking for the miseries and other things, to remember Krishna all the time. That's what I heard. Is that right?
Yes, very nice. Yeah. All the time, 24/7. Let him run in the backward channel if you have to do some other mundane duties. He's still always in the back of your head.
Yeah.
So, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devakī Nandanaya Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya. Try to remember that. Memorize it.
It's a beautiful sloka, Prabhu.
So tomorrow we're going to do the reading from Bhagavad Gita. Sukharupa Mataji would have already sent out an email. I think she wrote on all our things, on all our groups with a link where you can register. So
Mataji, I asked something for reading. I don't know. I got. I saw the list, and if there is another Vijayalakshmi Mataji, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are slots are there. So who to tell that?
Sukharupa. Sukharupa. Yeah, she's handling that.
But I don't think I have the number. Or Sutta. I'll ask.
I will put Sukharupa's number there. She's the one who's announcing, so you should be able to get it. Right? Okay. Vaishana Mataji, can you help with Navali Mataji with Sukharupa's number?
Yes, I will send it, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic. Okay. Very good. We'll meet again tomorrow, right? For the Bhagavad Gita class.
What time it starts?
5 o'clock our time, 8 o'clock your time.
My time, 8 o'clock.
And just to confirm, tomorrow is in English, right?
English. Yes, English. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.